However, right now, I'm going to address a situation about comments relating to Commissioner Mark Shull. On Tuesday of this week, I released my first statement, and I'm going to read that now. I acknowledge the harm and fear our community members are experiencing as a result of the horrifying statements that were recently revealed from one of our commissioners. I want to assure residents that I in no way condone or agree with these offensive statements. They do not reflect my values. Such statements are an attack on human dignity and have no place in government. Our role as commissioners is to serve residents, build trust, and create a safe and thriving community for all residents. Bigoted statements by elected officials undermine that work trust. The rest of the statement I'm not going to read, but it supports resolution on racism and diversity that this board passed last summer. Yesterday on Wednesday afternoon, I issued this statement after giving Commissioner Shull 24 hours in which to ponder the situation, and I released this. In support of the greatest good of citizens of Clackamas County, I have asked that Mark Shull resign from the Board of County Commissioners immediately. In additionally to that, as most of you have seen on the commissioners, there has been a paper released, and I know you can't see it, but it support of his resignation from 6 county-wide elected officials on both sides of the aisle. We have also have statements from our department heads urging Commissioner Shull to stand down, plus 21 deputy directors. Additionally, the entire Clackamas County legislative delegation has asked for that. With that in mind, I'm going to open it up for commissioner comments. Martha, you're in the queue.
Commissioner Shull, the issue we're facing here is that this county has done extremely good, worthwhile work in equity, inclusion, diversity, and it is making it very difficult for us to move forward. As you know, I consider myself an extremely kind person, and I try to understand everyone's viewpoint, but I think that your comments have caused irreparable damage. And with deep humility and sorrow, I would ask you to resign. It really is causing deep rifts in our community and in our ability to govern. So that is my statement, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schrader. Are there any other commissioners who would like to speak at this time?
Commissioner Fisher has her hand up.
Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chair Smith. Commissioner Shull, I was very much looking forward to working with you. I had followed your candidacy, your public messaging for your for seeking this seat. I must say I was looking forward to the spirit that you ran your campaign, which was looking at quality of life for Clackamas County residents, looking at affordability, and really your official candidate Facebook talked about removing the divide and working towards good governance. And so it is with great sadness that I am also calling for your resignation. I do not believe that candidate Shull is the real Mark Shull, which is demonstrated through your statements on your personal Facebook page, which were hateful and full of bigotry. I believe that as I was deceived, the voters of Clackamas County were also deceived, and that they would not have elected you had they known of your true views. Who we are is demonstrated through our public policy positions and the decisions that we make. One of your first decisions as a Clackamas County Commissioner was to consider the appointment for the Senate district that Casey Jama was appointed to. You were the lone voice against the now Senator Casey Jama. And when I looked at your comments of how you referred to Somali immigrants, I can't help but wonder and question if your racist views is what informed that decision. I am very sad and disappointed. I hope that you will do the right thing. But if you do not choose to resign, I am calling on all community leaders and all voters, residents, political observers, media to do the right thing and work to remove you from office.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. Commissioner Salas, do you have any words?
Yes, thank you, Chair. This has been an unbelievable year, and the word pain comes to mind in so many different ways. So I just want, for so many people that are watching this, I just want to acknowledge that, or let everyone know again that I am dealing with a pain issue and a nerve issue that's creating a lot of pain. And so if my voice cracks or I'm a little slow to speak, I apologize. So with that, it's been a very difficult week learning of these postings and these comments that were made. I have tried to respect the chair in our process this week and kind of remaining somewhat calm and trying to allow Commissioner Shull some time to regroup, assess, and explain or apologize or anything to kind of address the situation, to answer the questions and the difficulty they were all dealing with today. So we have, been asked to remain quiet, and today now we have really the first opportunity appears to actually speak to the issue. So this is my first opportunity abiding by the protocols that we discussed this week. I called Mr. Shull and spoke with him yesterday for the first time, and I expressed my disappointment and the fact that I obviously do not condone any of those statements. I do not understand them, and I express my disappointment. I feel and I spoke to and suggested that Mr. Shull seek some advice and some counseling and some help through this to navigate whatever decision he makes, how to navigate forward. I'm going to apologize because I have to speak to this. This is something that's very powerful for me because of my upbringing and my family. And my family came, all my family immigrated, my grandparents immigrated from the area of Turkey, Constantinople, Istanbul, in the part of the country where maybe some of these comments were directed to some degree. And so I have a very mixed racial family, and I experienced a lot myself, and had to defend my family members, I had to defend my friends, I had to defend a lot of people in my life. And I think it is with a lot of pain that I know people experience. I know that people experience racism, and I know this is a very complicated world, and I do know that through all of our experiences and the unique experiences of all of our soldiers who went overseas after 9/11 into that part of the country and that part of the world, to fight for our freedom, to fight for justice. and had to deal with the complications and the understanding. And you know, we do not understand all of our different cultures and all of our different people. But I think the most dangerous thing is when we stereotype people. We cannot, shall not, should not stereotype. I too am asking for Commissioner Shull's resignation. I strongly would consider, or not consider, but I would strongly suggest he consider, again, finding or seeking some advice and some consulting along the way to deal with the understanding and how to repair and rebuild. And while all of this is all true, I don't mean true, but all of this I have spoken to, I think there is a reality that this country was known. My grandparents moved here to the great melting pot. This country is known for its diversity. This country is known for accepting of all people, of all races, of all cultures. And that's what makes us great. I grew up with that understanding, and I had to carry that through my entire life. And I think that while here we are today with some irony that our strength is our diversity, I think that we need to continually realize that this is a lifelong education and understanding other people and other cultures. And so I hope that we can find a way to, number one, when we come across these situations, that we can find a means to help people like Mark Shull and others who have some misunderstandings or who need the help of the education to navigate this very tense, this very time, the pinnacle of probably our existence of racism across the world, in our country, that we got to figure out a way how we help people and how we educate one another and how we have some understanding and some compassion. While we can be very angry and very upset, at the same time, we need to find a way to rebuild. And I would strongly consider asking again, or ask Mr. Shull to find a way to deeply understand and find a way to deeply understand all of who he needs to apologize to in a very individual and powerful way. So I can say more, but I don't want to occupy a lot of the airtime. But I will turn it over back to the chair.
Thank you, commissioners, for your comments. I appreciate it very much. Commissioner Mark Shull, would you like to speak?
Yes, Chair Smith, fellow commissioners, I've heard and understand your concerns. I submitted a statement earlier in the week in response to the message that came in on Monday morning. It's my intention at this time to continue to carry out the work for the people of Clackamas County. Thank you.
I'm going to move immediately to our County Counsel, Stephen Madcore, and have him walk us through the action this board needs to take for immediate censorship of Commissioner Mark Shull.
Morning, Chair, Commissioners. Sorry to have to talk to you about this situation, but as the board knows, as an elected county official, this board's authority on unseating a duly elected commissioner or other elected official is relatively limited. That power is really vested with the voters, and a recall petition would have to be initiated after the candidate or the elected serves in office for 6 months. What this board can do in the interim is censure one of its members, and that basically is a public admonition based on the conduct of the particular member. This board could enter into a resolution which would be passed and entered into the record, which would censure the member. It would set forth the basis for the censure itself, and it could also add for language calling for the resignation of that particular member, but you cannot force it. It is basically chastising a colleague is what it is. The board would enter into a resolution. I have prepared one. I'd be happy to circulate it if the board would like to review it today during this meeting or at a later date. It is up to the chair and a majority of the board on how they would like to proceed in that manner.
Stephen Madcore, I'm going to have you read the resolution into the record today. I suggest commissioners chime in if you want to make any additions or subtractions to that. And it's up to the commissioners whether they want to proceed with it. Now, censorship allows for what? Commissioner Shull can still attend meetings and he can still cast a vote. Is that correct?
That is correct. You could assign or not assign to a certain committee, task, liaison function, things along those lines.
Mr. Madcore, could you read that resolution at this time?
Certainly, Chair. Let me ask, would you also like me to send it to the full commission on email right now? Let me just do that first.
And we're going to take, and public out there, we're going to take some time to do this. And the public just needs to be patient with us as we maneuver through territory that most commissions have not been through.
I will mention that Commissioner Savas has his hand up.
Commissioner Savas.
Yes, thank you, Chair. While Mr. Madcore is doing that, I would like to see if staff could email me our resolution that we passed this summer on equity, diversity, this racism, the last resolution that we addressed this with. I think that needs to be the foundation of our discussion today. And I think somehow we need to weave that into the language that this county will stand firmly against any form of racism, and we need to convey to our constituents that this is something that we will not tolerate. And somehow I want to make sure we weave language into this resolution, and as a backstop, not a backstop, but as a foundation for the issue at hand.
Chair Smith and commissioners, I have sent to your work email accounts the resolution, which is remaining unnumbered, with the title, A Resolution of Clackamas County Board of Commissioners in the matter of censure of newly elected Commissioner Mark Shull. Would you like me to proceed and read it, Chair?
Yes, I would. And I hope that commissioners are reading along with you on the emailed copy.
Okay. Whereas
the
Clackamas County Board of Commissioners prides itself in serving as the governing body of an organization that provides a multitude of critical public services to more than 400,000 of its residents. And whereas in the provision of these services and our representational democracy, the Board of County Commissioners finds that it is imperative that these services be provided to all residents fairly and even-handedly without bias based on gender, race, color, national origin, religion, family status, disability, source of income, sexual orientation, including gender identity. And whereas recently we have learned of certain comments posted on social media by Mark Shull, a newly elected county commissioner. And whereas the posted comments are derogatory, offensive, insensitive, and racist. Whereas by these statements, Commissioner Shull has imputed to Clackamas County a reputation of racist, sexist, and religious insensitivity and intolerance. And whereas by these statements, Commissioner Shull has damaged the reputation of Clackamas County, both as an organization and as a governmental entity. And whereas Commissioner Shull's statements and opinions are detrimental to the trust and confidence of the residents of Clackamas County and the Board of Commissioners' ability to ensure the delivery of services to the county's residents. And whereas as a result of this conduct, the Board of County Commissioners has lost trust and confidence in Commissioner Mark Shull and his ability to continue to provide leadership. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners that the Board of County Commissioners condemns and denounces the derogatory, offensive, insensitive, and racist statements posted on social media by Commissioner Mark Shull. This resolution constitutes official censure of Mark Shull for his conduct described herein. And it is the consensus of the Board of County Commissioners that it is in the best interest of Clackamas County that Commissioner Mark Shull shall resign the commission post effective immediately. Dated this day in January 14th, 2021. Remains
Thank you,
unsigned.
Steve.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stephen Madcore. I'm going to open up commissioner comments at this time. Who wants to speak first? Martha? Do I see you in the queue? You're unmuted. That's my cue.
I just want to let everyone know how heartsick this has made me. I did have a opportunity to speak to Commissioner Shull about it. And as someone who has a mixed race family as well, again, I'm taking no pleasure in this at all. I feel as if I can pretty much weep every day and feel deep sadness that the only way I feel I can move forward is to support something of this. I would also remind all of us, you know, from my background as a monastic oblate with the Benedictines in Mount Angel, that one of the thoughts we should continue to have is also to love one another and try to the best of our ability to forgive people, even if we believe that what has happened and what has been said is unforgivable. This is my Benedictine way of life. And I say this with all humility. And as I said, I would say that I just feel very heartbroken that we have been moved to do this to an elected official because we have no choice. So thank you for that. And I think we need to move forward as soon as we can.
Thank you, Martha. Paul?
Yeah, we in my 10 years as commissioner, we have had a number of situations in which the public has been offended by the actions or the words of a commissioner from time to time, and we have had to deal with that as best we can. We have had to explain to people our limited powers, that we can't simply remove someone from office, as Mr. Madcore has outlined, that we do have limited powers. I have always been concerned that, you know, the level of treatment or how we have handled each of those situations is done as fairly and as equitably as possible across the board. And this is certainly a unique situation. I don't think I do not recall that we have ever been at this particular level, but I do want to recognize that we have not been consistent in how we have dealt with situations like this, and that consistency somewhat has bothered me a little bit over time, as it does today. So the other thing I want to say, Martha, thank you so much. You said a word that has been resonating with me this morning continually, and that is the word humility. We have to realize we are not perfect human beings. And we have to realize that with humility, that we are always learning, and we always need to be sympathetic, empathetic, and help people and guide people through their misdeeds or through their difficulties or through their errors in life. And none of us are perfect beings. None of us are superior to one another. And I do know that Mr. Shull will be welcomed by a lot of members of communities and taken in with grace and try to help him through to understand maybe other cultures and situations. And I think that is a humane thing to do. So I think we have to, while being very firm and while recognizing all the hard work, we have done so much hard work. I mean, when we passed our first equity, diversity, and inclusion resolution, Commissioner Smith, you were on the board at the time. And I think we ought to all be proud of the work that we've done over the years to try to convey to our constituents that Clackamas County will not stand for this. So this is, I think, a fixture, the fact that this county has been taking such a strong stand over time, and we have to be consistent with that. And that is why this type of language, this type of communication is just not tolerable. It has to be dealt with. So I will, I saw the resolution. Thank you, staff, for sending me the resolution. I thought somehow maybe a more appropriate, I'd like to ask my colleagues if they would like to add any language to the resolution. And now that I think about it more, maybe perhaps it's attaching or recognizing or referencing our EDI resolution as opposed to the resolution we passed this summer. But I think we need to make a little bit stronger foundation for our action today as far as this resolution, that the foundation for that is that what we stand for, that I think that needs to be the symbol of this action here today.
Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Commissioner Fisher.
I appreciate all the comments of my colleagues, and this is hard. This is really hard. I do think that we need to act swiftly and decisively in censuring. I do agree that the foundation of which we do that is based on what Commissioner Savas is saying. Chair Smith was involved in initially, when she was a commissioner, in laying the groundwork for all of the work that we have done in Clackamas County.
Thank you.
We cannot afford to delay.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. As a leader, you will find that I tend to keep my emotions hidden. Today is my 8th day on the job as your chair, and I represent all of Clackamas County. It has been hugely difficult for me to navigate and maneuver. I am so thankful to the staff we have, the commission staff. I'm so thankful for Gary. They have dealt with my emotions that have been hidden from you and the public. My heart has broken in a million pieces. I have cried, and one day my heart was broken in so many pieces, I thought I was having a heart attack. And my heart has been broken. I have a huge agenda that I feel is for the greatest good of all Clackamas County residents, and nobody knows what that is. We've had 2 inaugural speeches have been canceled for not this reason, but for other reasons. People don't know what I'm about necessarily. They saw my campaign, they can go to my Facebook, they can go to the many white papers written on my website, and you can see. But my vision for Clackamas County is much broader and much encompassing. We will get to that later. However, this situation has been thrown at us. I have taken decisive actions after allowing myself contemplation and reflection. And as a leader, I tend not to offer up an immediate knee-jerk reaction. on situations like this, especially when it involves colleagues, and that's why I gave Commissioner Shull 24 hours grace. And I appreciate you commissioners in allowing that also. We're all going to say things that we will regret. That's the nature of politics. Heck, I've said things I regretted in my public life as a legislator and a commissioner as well. And I hope we would offer forgiveness for everybody. I have no ill will toward Commissioner Shull. I was so looking forward to serving with him and accomplishing really good things with him. With that in mind, I will entertain a motion to either accept the current censorship, or I will consider a conversation to add any language or resolutions to it. Commissioners, it is up to you.
Thank you, Chair. I would just ask my colleagues maybe for a moment of conversation. I obviously am very flexible. I'd like to make sure that, somehow, whether we embed it or simply attach it, but I would like to reference our EDI resolution, our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion resolution as the foundation. I want to make sure that we, again, convey to all of our citizens, all of our employees, everyone, that this is what this is what we're about. So we stand for. We will not tolerate this. And at the same token, is I think we also need to realize, as we communicate with other cultures, that we have so much education to do, that we need to figure out a way to educate ourselves. I don't pretend. I feel I also we constantly need education about other cultures, how we communicate and understanding. And I think spending some time contemplating between the words sympathetic and empathetic, and the difference of the words is, one, that you can sympathize with someone and feel bad for their particular situation, but to empathize is to be in their shoes and to have that understanding. And I think that is something that is through our walks of life. We all have different levels where we have those experiences. But anyhow, again, I just wanted, just for discussion, are my colleagues comfortable with just adding the EDI resolution as an attachment, or embedding some of that language even further, or are we happy with it?
Thank you, Paul. I would certainly consider that. Commissioner Fisher.
Yeah, I think that we could embed it in the resolution, and Stephen, you probably would need to confirm that we could have a link in the resolution for an electronic copy to our previous work as the basis of what Clackamas County is. I see Gary has just sent us something on email.
What we could do, commissioners, is, I would ask that you maybe allow me some more time I can cross-reference the EDI resolution and this current resolution. And there's a few other grammatical and typos in here that I would like to clean up, and I can get it to you by the end of the meeting, I bet.
Okay.
I am going to, I was thinking that same thing. If we want to continue with the rest of this business meeting, and Stephen, if that gives you ample time, we will take this up at the end of the meeting agenda and finish our business here today. That will give commissioners ample time to process, to think about what you want to do with this.
I'll get right on it, Chair, and if folks have any additions to it, they should let me know, but I'll circulate it as soon as it's ready.
Thank you, Mr. Madcourt. Stephen Madcourt, you have emailed commissioners the documents that were requested. The resolution about censorship, and added to that was another resolution. I would like to entertain commission comments at this time. I have read those on my cell phone, so I didn't have to exit out of this screen. So I would like you all to take some time and don't be rushed.
So, Chair, if I may?
Yes.
Yes, so commissioners, we did circulate a PDF version of the proposed resolution censoring newly elected Commissioner Mark Shull. It incorporates In the third paragraph, at this board's direction, it incorporates the 2015-96 resolution valuing diversity, equity, and inclusion in Clackamas County. So it incorporates that in full into this current resolution. This resolution is substantially similar to the one that I read verbatim to you earlier. It has a few minor grammatical changes, but the end result does two things. It censures your fellow Commissioner Shull for his conduct described in the resolution, and it also says it's in the best interest of the county that the commissioner resign his post effective immediately, and it has signature lines for Savish, Schrader, Fisher, and Chair Smith. Any questions? I'm happy to answer them.
Comments from commissioners?
Thank you for taking the time and to attach that. And if that indeed is the last, latest, greatest version of our EDI resolution, then I'm okay. I thought there was a more recent one, but that's okay.
I don't want there to be confusion with that. There is a more recent resolution, and that concerns the condemning of violence and racism directed at Black, African Americans, and all people of color. That was done in the wake of the George Floyd death and the other civil disturbances. My understanding from your prior direction was that you were referring to the EDI resolution. So we only incorporated one.
Right. Okay. Thank you. If this is indeed the latest, most recent version of the EDI resolution, then great. And I do understand the distinction between the other document that we passed earlier last year, 2020. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments from commissions? As hearing none, I will entertain a motion to pass a resolution censoring fellow Commissioner Mark Shull.
Second.
Who made the?
I'll make the motion to, sorry, Chair.
It's all right.
I will make the motion to censure Mark Shull.
Second.
Commissioner Sonia Fisher has moved and Commissioner Paul Savas has seconded the motion. Any other discussion? Christina, would you take a poll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Savas?
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Commissioner Shull?
Aye.
And Chair Smith?
Aye. Passes 5-1. Thank you.
5-0.
5-0. 5-0. Thank you, Paul.